The next company that we've got is in the consumer discretionary sector in the next 100, of course. This company is G.U.D Holdings. They've won the Best Board, Best Disclosure and Best Remuneration Policy Awards, and here to accept the awards tonight is Martin Fraser, the CFO.
Honourable Member for Oxley, Bernie Rapoli, Chairman Burrett Head, Nick Toles and his staff, thank you very much for putting on an excellent evening. Nick's been at me for about 3 years to get on board to East Coles, and part of me suspected that we got 3 awards to get me over the line. I'd like to think that's not the case. What I'll do is I'll give you a bit of background. I said to Nick, we're on a journey. We're not ready for this. You need to come back in a couple of years' time. Many of you probably sit there saying, who is G.U.D? G.U.D is one of those iconic Australian brand names, many of whom have gone out of business over the last 50 years. The BTR, Nilex and others you can all imagine. We own the Sunbeam and Oates brands for those of you who look in the household cupboards. For us men who are less well equipped in the kitchen, we have a number of industrial brands, Davey, pumps and so on, Dexy and racking. If you go into Bunnings, all the red stuff, your compactuses, we have a specialty lock business. And for those of you who like automotive, we've got a range of automotive businesses, Ryco, Westfield, Cooper, Goss, and recently we acquired Brown & Watson, which includes Nava and Projector. Our journey for the last 2.5 years has been addressing what was a real slow burn down in being slow to respond to the threats of globalisation, increased competition and so forth. When you're a kid, you could only get Sunbeam or you could only get Breville and latterly Canberra, but look at that space now. And we were slow to respond, and our profits and values were in a slow decline as well. So I said to Nick, go away for 2 years because we've got to work on this. And what we've been working on is to define what are we the natural owners of, how do we respond, what global alliances do we need, what do we divest, and where we are the natural owners, exactly why, and how we're going to grow or acquire those. We had to define a compelling proposition for our customers, our shareholders, our staff, which address things like high performance, low cost, and the Honourable Member will enjoy this long before it's been said in Canberra, innovation. And all that while we had to be pretty damn honest about where we were and how we'd been a little bit asleep at the wheel. And that really required us to bring our stakeholders along, to have a level of engagement between firstly board and management, many of whom have been there, myself not and the CEO not, for most of that slow decline. And once we had the board on board with us, with shareholders, and later the investor community, there were some pretty frank discussions. We lost people for a while. They thought we're too candid, too honest, too straightforward. But eventually I think the market acknowledged our straightforward behaviour, our clear leadership and the communication that went with it. And I think those are the things that really underpin the award. It wasn't any one person. We've had a really terrific board that's responded well to the CEO and I and what we've wanted to do and where we've wanted to take it. We had a very successful capital raising on the back of the acquisition of Brown & Watson this year. So we're about 2.5 years into the journey. We've probably got 2.5 years more to go, so it's by no means victory, but I'm very personally pleased and honoured that we got these awards. It's probably a little bit earlier than I expected, and I hope, as one person suggested at the table, it's not a precursor to a fall, but a precursor to greater things. Thank you very much.